Hey, it's Dr. Amanda with StraightSmile Solutions, StraightSmileSolutions.com, and we've had a ton of videos on scanners. If you want to see all of our videos and content on scanners, some of it's a little outdated, maybe over 5 years old, but you can go to my YouTube site, StraightSmile Solutions YouTube site, scroll down, there's playlists, somewhere towards the bottom, there's one on scanners. So again, I'm not partial to any particular scanner. However, I went to a really, really great lecture, and it was actually hosted by Dandy. Dandy is a lab company that basically, I'd call it lab crowdsourcing company. It's kind of cool. It used to be called, I forgot what it was called, but Ortho maybe? I think. But anyways, they did a really good impartial lecture on which scanner to get. And I thought I was going to come in and have them be like super pro 3Shape, but they actually weren't. They were pretty impartial. And they went through the pros and cons of all the major scanners, from your Prime Scan to your 3Shape to your iTero to your Medit, were the top four that they talked about. So I feel like it's pretty fresh in my mind, and I understand the benefits of, and the costs of each one. And it's like there's no wrong or right answer, and I see a lot of you like super stuck on this. So ultimately what they said, and I think everything they said was true, they said, first of all, what are you using it for? Obviously, if you're an orthodontist and you do Invisalign, which most orthodontists do, you get an iTero, Now, you might have more than one scanner in your office, because remember, iTeros, they're not cheap. I mean, they're not expensive, but they're not cheap. But there's a lot of additional expenses that you need to account for. And actually, my husband is a GP, and he just bought the 5 Lite iTero. We haven't gotten it yet, but trust me, he was stalling on this for a long time, but he finally sucked it up. Fact of the matter is, if you're going to do Invisalign, you have to scan. You're going to get so frustrated with impressions. Not only is it expensive, not sustainable, not good for the environment, but you're going to get rejected, and it's not going to be as accurate. So it's a no-brainer. So unless you can, and what we did for a really long time is that luckily where we live, there's radiology clinics that charge a really cheap price to use their iTero. You just send your patient there and they scan you. Matter of fact, my daughter's getting scanned this Friday because the iTero hasn't come in yet for her refinement. Real convenient. Takes like 3 minutes. They're super fast. And by the end of the day, it's already uploaded into your Invisalign account, and you can go ahead and do the refinement. So, there are workarounds, and I know a lot of general and pediatric dentists that share iTeros with other doctors. They'll just come in and get a scan, and basically these doctors have turned their offices into virtual scan shops, and then they bill the doctor, right? So there's workarounds if you don't have the volume yet to support the iTero, whether you, like I said, you outsource or you have a friend that you can use or whatever. But anyways, they have additional expenses. So you got to think about training. You got to think about, are there monthly fees? You got to think about how much do the tips cost? Are the tips disposable or autoclavable? These are all things you need to think about. How many uses do you get if you do have to autoclave them? How fragile are they? So Invisalign iTero has a pretty high monthly fee, and I think it's somewhere upwards of $200 a month, as well as the tips are disposable, which I don't love that they're disposable. I mean, I think it's bad for the environment, and they're about $4 each. So as much as I love to say, please scan every single patient, it's free to take photos. So better for you to just take Invisalign photos using the photo uploader on every single patient, because those photos are incredibly powerful and you can use them later. And if you want to download it, you can always, there's a way to, you can grab a screenshot and upload it, the composite, into your own system. I recommend having a backup in your own system. But anyways, expensive, the iTero, I'm not going to quote the price. Well, I will. I think the 2 is somewhere around low to 20,000, and the 3 is somewhere around 30,000. You can package it and pay more to have 5 years of the monthly fees bundled up front, so that way you can finance it at low to no interest, which is what I recommend. And then at least you're covered for 5 years. It's done, right? Tips, like I said, $4 a pop. I do know some doctors that give the patient their tip to take home, and they tell them you get 1 tip with treatment. I'm just giving ideas to save money. If you bring your tip back, otherwise it's $4 each time you have to get a refinement. I mean, I think it's a little chancy, but I do know people that do that. Or if they're keeping the patient's box for their Invisalign, they throw the tip in their box. So there's lots of things you could do so it's not so incredibly expensive. But yeah, if you're going to do Invisalign, you know, you get the iTero. It's a no-brainer. If you're not going to do Invisalign, then there's other options. You can use the iTero for everything else. It maybe isn't quite as good as the Prime Scan or the Medit or the 3Shape if you're thinking about doing restorative work or edentulous work. It would not, if you're doing edentulous work, I would not get the iTero. That's out. So, you know, like full dentures or major partials or things like that. If you're doing profs, removable profs, don't get the iTero. So, but I know a lot of doctors, honestly, that have 2 scanners. They have one for their Invisalign and one for everything else. That general and pediatric dentists. And I know even orthodontists that have 2 scanners. One for their Invisalign and one that's more open for everything else. So you don't have the cost that, you know, the tips and things like that. And remember also Invisalign does charge about $25 to outsource their scans to another lab that's not theirs. That's my understanding. And so not even all crown and bridge labs or profs labs, all ortho labs will take Invisalign, but will even take iTero as a result. And if they do, they might assess that fee onto you. So these are things where you want to talk to your favorite lab and be like, hey, first of all, do you even take iTero? Second of all, do you assess the fee onto me for each case? If you're getting charged an extra $25 for every retainer that you send out, every expander you send out, every crown that you send out, that's not worth it. So that's definitely not worth it. So you need to kind of get that clear first. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to do Invisalign, you get an iTero. It's a no-brainer. And if you're absolutely not doing it, you absolutely don't get the iTero. So that's how I lead with it. And then from there, I think if you're going to do a lot of volume of anything that's not Invisalign, like I said, like retainers, expanders, functional appliances, growth modification appliances, crowns, bridges, implant restorations, partials, you know everything you need a scan for. Everything else, I would probably get a cheap Medit or a 3Shape, to be honest, unless you're doing profs work, and then maybe you want to get the Prime Scan. But the Medit definitely has a huge, I'm kind of going off topic. It has a huge learning curve. I know tons of doctors that have one that returned it. So once you get a hang of it, it's fine, but it is not self-explanatory. And the problem is, if you have the same staff over and over again that finally know how to use it, you'll love it. But you know, if you got new staff coming in or you're trying to cross-train people in the front desk, it is not easy to use. It has a huge learning curve, and it's frustrating, and it can take you hours initially to learn how to do it. So you may not want to deal with that, you know. Whereas the iTero and the 3Shape are so intuitive that I can train a monkey to use them, basically. My kids can do it. And I like to say, if I can teach people how to take an impression with a direct-to-consumer home kit, you know, random consumers, I can definitely teach any dental team member, front desk, back office, treatment coordinator, doctor, how to do an iTero or at least a 3Shape, because literally all you do is wave the done thing in front of the teeth, and then wherever you missed, you go back and do it over. Minute or two, real easy, real fast. So, and I do have a really great iTero demo that I just posted yesterday. So it's only probably a few videos behind this one on my YouTube, and you can see how fast they did the iTero scan. It was very, 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 very fast. So anyways, regardless, you do need a scanner. So, all right, go for it. Thanks.